ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our September fixture video where Manchester City are going to play a total of 6 fixtures in September, which will consist of Premier League fixtures, Champions League fixtures, and a League Cup third round thrown in for a little bit of good measure. So we're going to start with, I'm going to run through the fixtures, play the dates, the times, kickoffs and all that. And then Rich and myself will chew the fat. We're going to play at Leicester City on Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff, the 11th of September. It's not on television. We are away at the King Power. And then on the Wednesday, the 15th of September, we are at home in our first group game of the Champions League at home to RB Leipzig, which will be an 8 o'clock kickoff. That will be on the television. Then 3 days later, we are at home again. Saturday, the 18th of September, again, a 3 o'clock kickoff. 3 days later, on the Tuesday evening, we are at home to Wycombe Wanderers, 21st September, 7:45 p.m. in the third round of the Carabao Cup. And then we have got probably the 3 biggest, toughest away fixtures, run of fixtures, probably in football this year. Where you've got Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge on the 25th September at 12:30 kickoff. So they've even given us the early kickoff because that's normal after the game. Then we've got PSG on the 28th of September, 8 o'clock kickoff away in the Stade de Paris. Probably going to be the Chelsea fixture at Stamford Bridge. For me, that's the one that stands out as probably, is it too early to say 6-pointer in September for a league title? Probably 6-pointer away at Stamford Bridge. That will decide, that will tell me anyway whether we're going to be in a title race. That Chelsea away.
For me, by a mile, it's going to be Wycombe. It is revenge time. I don't know whether it was the low point or the comedy point of my City supporting life, but I was at the home and away games we lost in Division 2. So it's revenge. Jermaine McSporran, we are coming for you and we're getting our own back.
So Leicester away, 3 o'clock kickoff. Jamie Vardy, is he going to be having a party, Rich? Is that a tough one?
I personally, I think we'll win at Leicester. I think it'll be a narrow scoreline, 2-1 to us, but I think it'll be a comfortable 2-1. I actually think we are better across the park than Leicester, and having watched both Leicester and us this season, although we had a shaky start, I think we look a better side than them. I think the Charity Shield game, really doesn't count because, we barely had anyone out who will be playing on Saturday, and those who were out were probably playing after only being back for a week. So I think comfortable win, but a narrow scoreline. I don't think it will be a blowout.
See, I disagree with that because look at Chelsea. We stuck our reserve team out against Chelsea twice and got beat, and we all went, it won't matter in the final because we've not played our reserve, we've not played our first 11, and whack, we went and got beat. So I do think it can be a mental block. I really do. And I'm not saying it's going to be, we're going to get beat because I don't think we'll get beat. I'm going for a draw in that one. I want to see how this false 9 racks up away from home. We've done it at home twice and we've thumped 2 poor teams. For me, this is our first proper test because I don't include Tottenham. If you go back to that Tottenham game, we were nowhere near the races. We were we came out cold. So unfortunately, I know this is going to sound so daft, but to me, this is now a 37-game season. We put ourselves 1 game behind. So for me, yes, the Leicester game will be a tough one. It is the first proper test. They've got Patson Daka, who's, I wouldn't say he's pulling up any trees at the moment in the Premier League, but he is a decent. They've got 3 forwards. We've got 0. They've got Vardy, Iheanacho, and Patson Daka.
I think it will be won or lost by our central defenders. I think they're danger man against us always is Vardy. He is a very good finisher, and a lot will depend who's playing centre back. Is Laporte's knock that he got for Spain, is that going to make him miss a game, or is he going to be back fine? He's fit. So personally, I think the key people will be Laporte and Diaz, and I think they will keep Vardy quiet. I would expect us to pick the same team as we picked against Arsenal, in all honesty. I think Pep, especially after the international break, unless someone's got a knock or they're not fit or, there's any COVID problems, I think he'll try and pick the same 11.
Leicester City, the form, they beat Wolves 1-0 at the King Power. They got smacked 4-1 by West Ham at the Olympic Stadium, but they were down to 10 men. And then they got a 2-1 away win at Carrow Road against newly promoted Norwich. So they've lost 1 and won 2. So they're on the exact same bank form as what we are. So really, this is Leicester's and City's first proper test in the league.
Yeah, the one thing I will say on Norwich is that I watched Norwich Leicester, some of that, and they were lucky. Norwich had a goal disallowed that was just absolutely careless. I think Pinnock was on the line, and I think Norwich could have beaten Leicester. Whereas against City, I thought Norwich could have lost by 15. And there was a massive difference in those two performances against Norwich.
If KDB's fit, does he go back in for you, Rich?
I'd prefer to, I would think that KDB and Stones come back in against Leipzig, but I'm not. Yeah. That will depend because he will want KDB back, but I don't know that. I'd probably bring those two back on the midweek.
I genuinely think Bernardo Silva, unfortunately, even though he shouldn't do, I think he will miss out and KDB will go in. For the simple fact is that I think Pep will be desperate to get him back in because you could see against Tottenham. And for me, I wouldn't normally say that, but for KDB to get on that pitch at Tottenham, when we all knew he was nowhere near fit and we all knew he was nowhere near ready, Pep couldn't wait to get him on the pitch.
I would play the same midfield against Leicester and I'd then give Gundogan a rest against Leipzig and bring KDB in for him and play Bernardo because I do think we need Bernardo's energy. And I like, Gundogan was brilliant against Arsenal. He had a very, very good game. But, I like Bernardo and KDB better as a combo than Gundogan and KDB. And Gundogan and KDB are both older. They've both had, injury issues. So I think both of them need the rests more than Bernardo does. So I'd personally keep Bernardo.
First group game for Manchester City at home at the Etihad, 8:00 kickoff. And the next league fixture, well, yes, we've got Leicester away. They are at home to Bayern Munich. So they've got a big, big game this weekend. So they're going to be using all their energy in that game. But as we know, Leipzig have got a brand new manager, brand new system as well, because they've now changed to this 4 at the back rather than a 3-2 wing backs, which will suit Angelino. But they've now dropped to a back 4, which will unfortunately show Angelino out for his his flaws. For the Leipzig game, I think the team will be quite a strong team. I don't think that the youngsters will come in for that one. I think they will be saved for the Wycombe game. Because you've got to remember, for me, I think you'll probably see Sterling in that game. You'll probably see maybe Mahrez in that game. I think if you're going to make the changes, any changes that will happen for me, Rich, are going to be in that Champions League game. I think KDB for me is the only exception for the Premier League game, Leicester. I think everybody else will come in for Leipzig.
I agree. I think it will be a strong team, but I do think I think Stones, KDB, Mahrez, possibly Zinchenko will come in, but it will all be, good starting 11 players who come in. But I think there will be some change, whereas I think Leicester's we'll do what we did against Arsenal and try and play, possibly you're right on KDB. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same team, but I think then we'll start to see a little bit of rotation. And Pep may change 2 players for Leicester, so he only has to change 2 more for Leipzig. I mean, we can never guess, but that would be my thinking. And I actually think it's a hard game to predict because they're not in good form. They've lost, all their star players, the Werners, the Upamecano's, the Sabitzers, etc. have all gone.
They've both
lost their manager.
They've lost both centre-backs.
Yeah, they've lost their manager to Bayern. So, they are a team in massive transition. They are a team, although they have money, who've lost nearly all their star players. So I think it'll be a relatively easy home win. Again, I don't think it'll be a blowout score. I think it'll be like, was it Mönchengladbach we played last year, where it was just 2 kind of easy wins, not 10-0s, but easy wins. And I think Leipzig will be that, because I just think it's too much for them to change managers' formation, lose the best players, and then go and play against one of their best teams in world football away. And even last year, I watched a bit of them in the Paris group last year, and although they produced one upset, stunning performance or 2, they also look pretty vulnerable in some of the other games, defensively and in organisation terms. And that was before, losing, what they've lost this summer.
Well, they've changed formation as well, because they had the 3 with the 2. But that, like I said, that's for me where Angelino stepped in, because Angelino worked better as a wing back. Now you've gone to a flat back 4. He's going to get exposed for his defensive frailties, because his job isn't to get forward anymore. His job is to be an out-and-out left full-back, which we know Angelino's, that's not his strength. If you look 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we were going to the last game or 2 of the group, and we were like, not too sure here. And for some reason, I will say, over the last 2 or 3, we seem to have got over this psychological barrier of getting out the group. We're now doing what United did years ago, where the group stage was done within 4 games. It's now a mentality of win the first 4, bang, through we go. Southampton at home on the 18th of September, 3 o'clock kickoff again. What I'm going to do for you now, I'm just going to run over the start that Southampton have made in this current campaign. So they started with an opening day away defeat at Goodison Park against Rafa Benitez's Everton, 3-1. Then they got what most people who watched the game, before the game, will say is a shock 1-1 draw to Manchester United. They then got a good 8-0 win away to Newport County, 8-0, yes, 8-0 in the Carabao Cup second round. And then they got the last outing, Saturday the 28th of August, they got a 2-2 draw against Newcastle United. I don't see any issues going into this game. I think it's quite a comfortable home win for this. I don't think Southampton will cause us any problems. It's a nice fixture to have coming off the Leipzig game especially. And the good thing is no travelling. Rich, no travelling whatsoever. We're at home for both games, so they get to sleep in their own beds straight into the Southampton game.
Yeah, I think it'll be, I think it'll be the same as Leipzig. There'll be a bit of rotation. There'll be a few players brought back. Probably see a side against Southampton that's pretty similar to Leicester. I don't think we'll batter them. I think they're a bit more solid and a bit more heart than Norwich, apart from when they're paying the bloody regs. They've got a bit more heart than Norwich and Arsenal. I see a 3-1, a sloppy goal let in from a Nathan Redmond coming off the bench cross, but I think we'll beat them 3-1. And I think it won't, it'll be, relatively comfortable, but I don't think it'll be a battering like we've seen against Arsenal and Norwich.
See, I do. I think we'll absolutely batter Southampton. I know they bought the young lad Armstrong from Blackburn, which actually looks a bit of a shrewd signing, actually. I mean, it just makes you cry a little bit when you see all these young strikers going in and being given a go, and we've got nobody. But never mind. But yeah, Armstrong for me was a shrewd bit of business by Southampton. I do think he'll score goals, but I just think it's a nice fixture to have after Leipzig. I think it is a free hit for Southampton. Don't get me wrong, it's a free hit. But I think we've found our way around teams that park the bus now. And Southampton, yes, I will say for the last couple of years, I always remember that Sterling goal in the 93rd minute, which one, everyone was on the pitch and Pep was doing a jig at the halfway line. And and it has always been a tough one. But I think this will be a bit of a different game. I think we'll give them a walloping 5-0. The Carabao Cup third round fixture, Wycombe Wanderers against Manchester City.
Well, I think it's revenge time. I think we need to forget putting out the kids. We need to get the full first 11. We maybe even need to rest a few players against Southampton so they're up for it. And then we need to crush them. I've got post-traumatic stress disorder from our double defeat to Wycombe in 98-99.
21 years, Rich.
Yeah, but you go and watch a game on a miserable night in the middle of winter in the dark and cold in a bloody B&Q car park stadium, and then you lose to a bloody goal by a striker, McSporran. I mean, that lives with me. And then when I went back to the home game for revenge, we go and managed to lose to them and cost ourselves automatic promotion. Although
it was a lovely
that did allow for Gillingham, but that was just, to me, that double defeat to Wycombe was my York City. It was just
Rich,
shocking.
No, not having
so
it.
I want revenge. I want revenge on them. I want us to bang at least 6 goals past them. I don't want any mercy. Possibly play Liam Delap and let him get a hat-trick, but we've got to take it seriously. But I'm scared at the same time. I know the danger of Wycombe.
Rich, you just said you want them to play the strongest team. That's your heart. Now let me get
but
the
we won't.
answer.
We won't, because we've got Chelsea at 12:30 a few days after. So exactly. We will probably not play a single player who will start against Chelsea. Unless we have to play one. But I think it will be Rob's favourite Ake will be playing. We'll have probably Delap playing. I think the four, possibly, and I think Palmer. I do think there'll be 5 or 6 players who.
There isn't anyone else,
as
Rich.
always.
They're all on loan.
Yeah, there'll be 5 or 6 first teamers playing. So, we'll get a very good idea of the Chelsea side by who's picked against Wycombe, which are the 5 or 6 first teamers play. But my heart is a bit scared of this, thinking that Wycombe might be the team to bring our run of years and years of winning the League Cup to an end.
The next fixture, Chelsea away, the big one, Stamford Bridge, 25th September, 12:30 kickoff. We're on the lunchtime one. Is it a 6-pointer or is it too early? I think this is going to be a 6-pointer. Chelsea, just to remind you how they have started the season. Yeah. As we all know, they started in the Super. Well, I'm going to include the Super Cup. They got a 1-1 draw against Villarreal and they won it on penalties 6-5. Then they got a comfortable 3-0 home win against Patrick Vieira's Crystal Palace, Stamford Bridge. Then they went to the Emirates, the quiet Emirates, basket case of a club Arsenal, and beat them 2-0 with Romelu Lukaku's debut and a debut goal. And then they got a very, very resolute point away at Anfield on their last outing, 1-1 against Liverpool, and they were down to 10 men as well. And they played that game for a good portion of it with 10 men, thanks to the Reece James red card. So, Rich, Chelsea away. Is this a game we can afford to lose this early in the league?
I think we could afford to lose it. I think there's so many things left to happen. I don't think a win or a loss is going to make us champions or kill our chances. I actually reckon this is going to be one of the biggest damp squib games of the season. I reckon it's going to be 0-0 with a couple of missed half chances, and I reckon both managers will. I reckon Tuchel will go for a defensive, 9 at the back, try and catch City on the break. I reckon that Guardiola will play not being a final that he has to be a win ultimately. He will play a lot tighter, and I reckon it's going to be a dull as dishwater 0-0 draw. As an outsider, it could go 1-0 either way, possibly 1-1, but it's going to be dull, defensive, and I think we'll see Diaz and Laporte for City at their best. We might even see him go for Diaz and Stones with Laporte left back because of the need to defend. I think we'll see, and we'll see the same from Chelsea, and I reckon it'll be for the lovers of defending and defensive tactics, it'll be beautiful, but for people who want a free-flowing high goal game, I reckon it's going to be dull.
Rich, for me, Chelsea, I'll give you my banging everything. I'll give you my opinion, Rich, on Chelsea and the and the game. I think it's 6 point because we cannot this season of all seasons where everyone is much of a muchness now. Everyone's improved. Everyone has slowly closed the gap on us a lot. Not fully, but they have closed that gap. We have to be honest with that one. But Chelsea look a lot more resolute now, and we have to come away from Stamford Bridge with at least a point, and we have to celebrate it in the same way Chelsea did on that pitch at Anfield when they were cuddling each other and giving high five as we're coming off. We have to send a message out, because if we don't get 3 points against Leicester and we don't get anything at Stamford Bridge, we are pushing a boulder uphill already this early. And I know people will say, Martin, you're at the panic button. I'm not. I'm saying because Chelsea are not going to drop many points this year. I don't think anyway. I think this season is going to be the closest title race between everyone. I really do. And whoever wins it this year is going to earn it big style. And I think this season the league will be won on these fixtures, on these big
And that's probably where I differ. I think that this season is going to be won by the results against the bottom 10. I do think you're right. There will be a lot of points taken off. I think Chelsea will drop points against good sides. I think City will. I think Liverpool will. I think, the other teams competing will. But I reckon it's going to be a Ferguson-like season. There's going to be some team who win 19 of their 20 games against the bottom 10 sides, or 18 of their 20 games, and that side will be the one that wins the league.
I'd agree with you on that, Rick. But I just think this season's going to be a season like no other. I think this year it won't be just City and Liverpool. I think you will literally going to have Liverpool, City, Chelsea, United all vying. And I just think, and that's why I think, for me, if we come out beating Leicester, which I think we will, and I think we're definitely capable of getting a point against Chelsea, or whether it's we win at Chelsea and we get the point at Leicester, 4 points for me has to be a must in this. I'm not saying it's panic stations if we're not. I'm just saying that for me this year, I think because of the way the league is, and fans are back and everything else, listen, I think that week's a bit of a sham anyway, what's coming up in that week. The thing that worries me with the Chelsea game is what comes next. That's what worries me with this Chelsea game.
Yeah,
go on, Rich.
Go against my normal self. I actually think we're going to get a bit of a touch-up in Paris. I think we're going to beat them in the final. I think it's going to be a City PSG final this year, but I think we will get a bit of a touch-up in Paris, because I just think that in a game with a bit less pressure, in a game where we know we've got arguably more important games just before and just after, I think, they are top. I think they'll get an early goal and get on top, and they'll probably beat us 3-1 or something. So I think that's going to be a low point. But, I know it's October, but I think we're going to win at Anfield. So I think we're going to have a draw, a loss and a win in that tricky week. But I think we'll get touched up, and I think we will see Mbappe and Messi and Neymar at their best. But I actually think we'll get the better of them at the end of the day in the Champions League.
You're scaring me now. Right. and this is why for me the Chelsea game, that team is going to be so significant, because then we've got the PSG, as we're going in for the second game of our group game against in the Champions League on the 28th of September, and it is away in Paris first. And I just see, for me, it all depends how PSG are doing. Now, at the moment, looking at their results so far since the start of their season, now we're going all the way back from, I'm trying to look at when their season began, but they beat Troyes 2-1 away. They beat Strasbourg 4-2. They beat Brest 4-2. And they beat, is it Reims? 2-0 away as well. And they've got Clermont Foot on Saturday at the Parc de Paris. So they've got quite an easy game. They've got Club Brugge. They've not a lot. I mean, just the game before they finish face us, they're at home to Montpellier. So they have the easier fixture on paper before they step into us.
I mean, they always have the easier fixture. I mean, the reality is of them playing in the French league is they
didn't win it last year, though. They
always have the easier fixture. No, I just think that if it was a knockout game, I think I'd go for City. I think they might bottle it, but I think Paris, it's set up for them. It's a game without much pressure, because in all honesty, that group, both City and PSG, should go and win 4 games out of 4 against the other opponents, and first or second doesn't matter. So in some ways, it's a bit of a free hit. Unless we've gone and done something stupid by not beating Leipzig, it's a free hit. But I think that suits a team like Paris, who then, to me, they're not really a team. They're a team. They're a set of brilliant individual players. I think, they will be able to absolutely destroy people if they're not got pressure in them on the game. And I just think they're going to have a great day and get giddy against us. I don't think it's going to win them the Champions League, but I think it'll be a bit of a lesson to City and a bit of a giddy day for them. But I don't actually think it matters that much, because I think we'll still go through in those first 2 places, and it will just be, like their cup final.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but I think September is going to be a wonderful fixture list. You can see the 6. I don't think that there's a bit of everything. Carabao Cup, Premier League, Champions League, whatever you want to do, you are going to get it in the month of September. This is where the season really starts. We've had the 3 warm-up games. International break is done. We're back with a bang, straight in not only the Premier League, the Carabao Cup, the Champions League. We have got one hell of a month coming up, and I, for one, cannot wait to see it personally. But I want to thank Rich for joining us on the September fixtures.
Thank you.
And we'll see you in the next one. If you're going to do it anyway, do it the Mancunian way.